cannot imagine what it would put them through to know that someone like this guy had dug up those remains and was doing God knows what with them. It is truly, in the most literal sense of the word, horrific. I grieve for those who are upset by this, who are going through it, who are trying to figure out if it is in fact their loved one or their child, because we found remains that we believe to be months-old infants among those that he had collected. So our hearts go out to every family that is impacted by this. Some of these are hundreds of years old. We are trying to figure out exactly what we are looking at. We quite simply at this juncture are not able to date and identify all of them. I want to make some thank yous here because this was truly a collaborative effort. As you guys can imagine, this spanned from here to Lancaster County. The Ephrata Police Department was instrumental in gaining access to and executing that search warrant. The Philadelphia Police Department was cooperative. This is the Mount Moriah Cemetery, and that spans Yeadon Borough into Philadelphia. We had to have their cooperation throughout this, guys. They were. Those cases are now going to be handled in Delaware County. We've reached out to law enforcement agencies there, and jurisdiction has been transferred to Delaware County. Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office lent support throughout this process. Pennsylvania State Police, the Delaware and Lancaster County Medical Examiner's Office, who are now in possession of these remains. We thank them for their cooperation. This was obviously an overnight job. There is a lot that needs to be done to collect and humanely preserve these remains. We are working diligently to make sure that happens. The Lancaster County District Attorney's Office, the Middle Creek Search and Rescue Canine Unit, which helped us get in there initially, and the Friends of Mount Moriah Cemetery. It should be noted, this happened at Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah did everything they could to cooperate with law enforcement and keep this from happening again. This happened, as you guys will see in the complaint, under the cloak of darkness, very much secreted from public view. This guy did everything in his power to secretly and silently grave rob. Mount Moriah did everything they could to stop him from doing it, but as you can imagine, a cemetery that size, it is very difficult. We thank them for their cooperation throughout this process. I'm going to turn it over now to Mayor Rohan Hepkins of Yeadon before we take questions.
Thank you very much, Tanner, District Attorney Tanner Rouse. Just want to say this was quite a heinous act, very depraved. I've never heard anything like this. It defies logic or comprehension. And as the District Attorney just stated, it's something literally out of a horror movie. When you have your loved ones interred, you respect their remains, you respect them into perpetuity, and to have this type of heinous act happen is beyond dignity or anything that we can comprehend or imagine. So this started when the Friends of Mount Moriah reached out to me, and I got wind of it that Mount Moriah is, half of Mount Moriah is on borders Philadelphia, southwest Philadelphia, and half of Mount Moriah is located in Yeadon, separated by Cobbs Creek. And I notified our chief, Henry Gianmarco, who deserves a lot of thanks and praise for this, and he sprung into action and had patrols at night, detectives, and we caught him. We were on to, got some leads and involved, reached out to the district attorney, CID, and we caught him, I believe, 2 days ago. So I also want to give a shout out to the Yeadon Police Department for breaking the case, the Philadelphia Police Department, and of course our District Attorney's Office of Delaware County. And we want to send the word out that you cannot come into Yeadon in Delaware County and commit crimes. Okay, we'll be onto you, we're going to find you, and you're not going to be able to get away with something like this. So it could have been a lot worse if we didn't spring into action as quickly as we did. And for the families involved, they're grave sites that are over 200 years old. Mount Moriah is very historical because every war from the Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War II, and beyond have soldiers buried in that cemetery. As a matter of fact, Betsy Ross was first interred at Mount Moriah, I believe on the Yeadon side, before her body was exhumed and brought back to Philadelphia in a special vault. So it's very historic, and I'm sorry that something like this happened, but thank God that we got to the bottom of it, and hopefully, and also one of the things I realized why it was an inviting target is that Mount Moriah is so open. It's hard to, it's not fenced in. There's easy access in like a million places. So it was easy to access that type of graveyard because it's just so open. But because of that, it should be pristine and kept and honored and treasured. But we have individuals today in today's world that don't respect any type of those boundaries or dignity. But I just want to thank everybody else involved at this time, including my police chief, Henry Gianmarco. I wonder if he has any words he'd like to share at this time.
Good afternoon, all. I just want to, again, echo what District Attorney Ralph said and also what Mayor Hepkins said. It's important to understand the collaboration of us working together with the District Attorney's Office. They've been supportive to us, and they constantly support us. And special thanks to Detective Leah Sesnick from the Yeadon Police Department and also Detective Carr from CID. They did a hell of a job. And again, we're out there, and having the support of Tanner and other local law enforcement agencies, it just shows when we break down silos, we can work together. Thank you.
If I didn't do enough thanking, I want to do it one more time. Detective Sesnick, who I know is around the corner, Detective Carr, this was really excellent work. It really was. This is good old-fashioned police work to make sure we got this guy, so I'm very appreciative of their efforts, so I'll thank them again. And we'll take questions. If you could just do me a favor, identify yourself and where you're from, just so I can get to know you guys a little bit. I would appreciate it very much. Yeah.
Hi, Dina Durante, NBC 10.
Hi, Dean. How are you? Good.
So it's possible here that your detectives, your agencies, didn't just crack a case that was happening in Yeadon, because this does appear to be a statewide situation.
It almost certainly did not only happen in Yeadon. Whether or not it's statewide and exactly what that means, Zena, we don't know at this point, but you're absolutely right. It is almost certain that this is not exclusive to Yeadon.
Are you talking with investigators, say, in Plains Township, Luzerne County?
We are, yes, that outreach is beginning now. Truthfully, we were a little bit handcuffed because we didn't know what we were going to find in that house. Now that we are aware of the extent of what's going on, that's beginning more fully.
John Paul with 6 ABC. Can you tell us a little bit more about when you found these skeletons in the house? Where were they? What condition were they in? What was he doing with them?
So, John, a lot remains to be determined at this point. They were in the basement predominantly, although, as you can imagine, with 100 remains, it was not as though they were in an isolated area. We don't know exactly what he was doing with them. Time will tell. They were in various states. Understand, some of these are 200 years old. Some of them obviously much newer. There's one that had a pacemaker still attached to the body. So clearly that's not 200 years old. We are trying to figure out exactly what went on in that home. It is still unclear, and given the enormity of what we are looking at and the sheer kind of utter lack of reasonable explanation, it's difficult to say right now at this juncture exactly what took place. We're trying to figure it out.
Did he have like videos that you guys were able to confiscate? Was he setting them up? What was he doing?
At this point, it's somewhat unclear. There were so many that they were in various states. Some of them were hanging, as it were. Some of them were pieced together. Some were just skulls on a shelf. We don't know exactly what we've got, what condition they are in. We're still figuring out, does this go with that, etc. So there was no signature thing that was taking place with each of these skeletons. It was a collection. He was doing various things with all of them. At this juncture, that appears as much organizational as anything else. It's not clear there was an MO.
Okay, and one last thing. Was anybody else in that house? Was it just him at the house, or were there other people there who knew what was going on in his collection?
Mr. Gerlach had a girlfriend, it turns out, who was at least around the home.
So she could have been aware if you talked to her?
We at this point, where Mr. Gerlach is the one that is charged. I'm not going to say anything further in the investigation at that. Madeline, yeah, hi.
Hi, Madeline Wright, CBS Philadelphia.
Thank you.
A few questions. Was Mr. Gerlach stealing jewelry as well, or the remains, and was he selling any of this?
So, We have now recovered jewelry. It's unclear, again, what that is connected to. We believe at least some of that was recovered with the remains. Whether that was his primary motive or not, we can't speak to at this point. We are working to figure out whether or not anything was sold. There are indications, but at this point, that's a little bit unclear.
There had been reports earlier this year, I believe, of other like mausoleum doors missing, things like that, in various cemeteries in the area. Does it look like this is connected to that, or is that something else entirely?
It's preliminary, Alex. At this point, we don't have any indication they're necessarily connected. Certainly, we're going to run it down.
Do we know what equipment Mr. Gerlach was using to break into the graves?
There was, when he was arrested, he was recovered with a crowbar and some other pretty rudimentary items. It is not as though this was, there's no forklifts involved in this at this juncture that we can identify. It seems everything was handheld.
And how did the police become aware of this?
I don't want to get too deep into the investigation, Madeline, but actually just kind of good old-fashioned police work. They identified a suspect, identified his car, realized he started hitting on license plate readers around the time these break-ins occurred, and went from there. So it, again, started on a hunch and someone following some intuition where they very easily could have dismissed it. Instead, they went the extra mile, did some legwork, and found out that, in fact, their hunch had been corroborated by a number of factors. Obviously, it went from there, but that was the initial lead.
Was there any digging involved, or did he just break into mausoleums?
There was some. I don't want to comment and get out ahead. Some of it was underground, some of it was above ground. So there was some breaking in, and I don't know exactly, John, as I stand here, whether or not he had to physically dig or go in, but there was definitely some underground and some above ground.
Can you describe the actual arrest at all? Do you know the particulars of how that went down?
Alex, as I stand here today, Detective Carr be in a better position to answer that. It was relatively uneventful. It wasn't as though there was a struggle or anything of that nature.
Do you think more arrests could be coming in this case?
At this point, I don't foresee anything, Madeline. I don't have any reason to believe. Certainly more charges are possible. I don't know there's going to be any more arrests. Is it possible with something of this scope? Certainly. It defies any logic, so I don't want to rule anything out. At the same time, we don't have any reason to believe he was working with anyone as he was doing this at this time.
Real quick, can the Yeadon chief?
Yeah.
You've been in the business a long time. You ever seen anything along these lines ever?
No. After 30 years, no. I can say this is probably the most horrific thing that I've seen. And again, to the families, as the district attorney pointed out, we all have loved ones that passed. Like, rest in peace is rest in peace. And this is definitely something that tears at your heartstring, especially when you see, as he pointed out, an infant having children and grandchildren. Yeah, it was definitely an event. And again, thanks to the support of the district attorney's office and the unwavering support of the mayor and and the detectives and the officers we have in Yeadon, we're truly blessed to have a great team.
Understanding it's early days, but have you been able to identify any families of these remains and spoken to them at all yet?
There are the 26 specific instances, Alex, which we are aware of where a grave was broken into. We have not been able to necessarily link those up, but we do know those are instances of specific break-ins. Beyond that, not at this point.
Was it the cemetery staff who noticed that there was some damage and then contacted the mayor, and then the mayor contacted police?
Yeah, the Friends of Mount Moriah, who have board members from both Philadelphia and Yeadon, noticed that some grave sites were desecrated and notified the Philadelphia Police Department, Yeadon Police Department through me. I'm actually on the board, and I notified our chief, and that really started the resolution of this to date.
And the 100 remains that were found, are they all from the cemetery in Yeadon, or they could be from other cemeteries?
No, we believe, Madeline, they are from other cemeteries as well. We can't say for absolute certain at this point, but it seems almost certain that they are beyond Mount Moriah.
Any other reports about other cemeteries?
Of course, there are other reports out there. We have not been able to corroborate, does this match up with what we're finding? And frankly, again, like I said, I don't know that we ever will. There are other reports. We're looking into it.
How common is this?
Not very. Thank God. No, I, as the chief alluded to, I can think of other instances in which we've heard of someone literally grave robbing, right? Going down there and stealing jewelry or stealing something of that nature. We've all heard of desecration of corpse cases where someone's doing something to a dead body. I've never heard of any situation. I've been, this is 16, almost 17 years, where someone's stealing and collecting the bones like this. This is different.
One of these incidents, well, at least the cell phone pinging, was on Halloween. Do you have any reason to believe there's some sort of connection there? Was he using them as like Halloween decoration?
There was no evidence, John, of, as I said, anything concerted. That there just isn't anything going on in that basement that leads you to believe, okay, I don't rationalize it, I don't get it, but I see what is happening here. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason.
Is he part of a satanic cult of some sort, or
Not to anyone's knowledge at this point, and certainly he hasn't given any indication of such.
There's a Facebook page of somebody with the same name, Jonathan Gerlach, and there's a picture of him holding a skull.
Yes, there is.
And part of a group that says Human Bones and Skull Selling Group. Is that part of the investigation?
It is.
And that Facebook page belongs to the suspect?
Where it's part of the investigation, we are working to confirm all that, Madeline, and what that might have led to, the veracity of any of that. It doesn't strike me as a coincidence, but we need to figure out if anything was actually happening with that, or if this guy was just taking skeletons and talking a big game on Facebook.
Are you talking to local medical schools to see if they maybe bought any of these bones in the past year or so?
I don't know, Alex, the outreach that's happened just yet.
Right.
If someone was buying bones from that person, is that illegal?
I have to be honest with you, Madeline. I'd have to look into it. I don't know that it would be unless they had reason to know what this was. The bone trafficking laws are new to me. Any other? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Can you pop that back up?
Oh, yeah.
You send me